Roles of a denizen. A content creator is a user that creates posts and is rewarded based on the quality of their content. A content evaluator is a user that helps assess the quality of content and enforces community standards. The evaluator is effectively taking part in a marketplace to curate content and is rewarded for early evaluation. A content consumer is a user that wishes to find and consume the most valuable content in a given subject area or within a community. A lair owner is a person holding tokenized ownership of all or part of a community lair. Owners are rewarded with a portion of all mining activity happening within their lair. Owners are incentivized to build the best community of content creators and evaluators.
What's up, denizens? Welcome to the weekly DENDAO Call. Today is May 5th, May the 6th, the return of the 5th. Yesterday was Star Wars Day, so I'm still kind of playing off that a little bit. Joe's not here today, so it's just going to be me. I'm going to go through some updates. We'll talk about what's recently happened, what's recently been updated on the website and the app, and then what's coming very soon, as well as talk about whatever else comes to mind along the way. If you would like to chime in with anything, if you have something you want to bring up and talk about, you can join and talk about it. There's a link on the post in the DENDAO layer that's on screen now. The StreamYard link. If you click on this, it'll bring you in to a lobby where I'll see you, but you won't see me. And then just say something in the private chat so I know what you want to talk about, and I'll bring you up. Right off the bat, I haven't not looked over your proposal yet. I am, so thanks for that feedback. I'll check it out here in a minute. But if you're not available today and will be here next week, if the proposal's already up, it might time out by then. But I'll look at it here in a second, completely cold, and see. So what do we have to talk about today? Let's see. Layer chat got an update. Yep. There's going to be probably a change you won't really notice with the way that we are handling the daily matter minting over on the Ethereum side. Won't affect anything here on Den, I think. Talk about that for a minute. Let's see. Moving along to, yes, the May 2022 proposal phase is open. So if you want to get a layer idea in and you don't see it in the existing layer list, then you can propose your own. It'll be added in for this cycle, and it'll probably take a little while, but over time, we're seeing some of the old ones being winning now, so that's cool. So yeah, propose what you want to see if it's not there already. There's a change in the way we're picking them, and cool. That's the list of things to talk about. So like I said, join if you want to call. Otherwise, let's get on with the updates. So first up is layer chat. This is something maybe I'm way more excited about than others. I don't know, but I especially love the way that, and this is true for everything on Den so far, but I love the way that the implementation doesn't just copy what somebody else did and say, cool, good enough. I'll open a new tab, and we'll just go into chat and look at that real quick, because it should look different to you if you've been paying attention to chat in the first place, which is a recent feature, the most recent feature. So I'm just going to bring up my list of chat rooms, and I'll go into, I don't know, how about, let's pick art, right? Let's go into the art chat. There's now three different types of messages you'll see in chat. Previously, it was just a chat room where you would go in and chat like any other chat room, right? But to go into the chat room, especially on the app, if you don't have a desktop with a bunch of tabs and monitors set up and having a bunch of stuff open at the same time, on your phone, mobile web browser, or on the phone app, you're really looking at one page at a time. So Unless you have one of those fancy folding phones, which I looked at, and it just seems, I don't know, terrible. So assuming that, you've got everything in one page now. You can see as people post things in the Den layer, posts actually come into chat as if there was a chat message. So that's pretty cool. You can kind of keep an eye on a layer, especially like for, I'm thinking the type of people that would really get a lot out of this would be number one, layer owners, governance members, lot holders. If you want to be available for your community, if you want to collaborate in real time without waiting to see if like somebody else is around to respond to your post, you know, if you want to even schedule a monthly or a weekly meeting in your community, like, all right, let's start having I don't know, cannabis chat at 4:20 every Friday afternoon or something, right? You can now meet in the chat room and just start either talking about the layer topic or collaborating on what to do with the layer and how to grow it. So that's cool. And that was already there, the last update. But now, as of this week, you can also not have to go back out and check to see if anybody's posted something recently in the layer. So if you're having a conversation in chat, there's a few people working some stuff out, you're still monitoring the layer too, right? So as people, let me scroll up here, as folks post, you can see that it comes in with the little down arrow, right, left and down. And then you can even see replies to that post, and that's the little up and left arrow, right? So you can sort of keep an eye on what's going on in the layer without ever leaving chat. And the second person type of person that I see that being very valuable to, and when I say valuable this time, I mean potentially profitable, is the evaluator role. If you watched the intro to this meeting, we have this ad that explains the different roles of a denizen. I play it almost every time on Wednesdays for coffee too, because it's a nice, you know, it's like a nice slow start to the show, and it's kind of that vibe anyway for that. So the role in there when it talks about the evaluator is the role that I think should pay attention here, because what has been done now, basically, chat has been turned into a very valuable resource for evaluators, because if you've been studying how the algorithm rewards you for participating, then you'll have noticed that the earlier you are to evaluate a piece of content, the higher your reward is if you're correct, right? And when I say correct, I mean within the context of the community. You are betting that everybody's going to want to see this content, and everybody's probably, the majority of people are probably going to vote this up. And so if you are able to make that assessment the earliest, if you see it first because you're hanging out in chat and you see it sort of when it pops in, you know, then you can get at it first. You can look at it, make sure that it's appropriate, and then you can evaluate that potentially first. And I think that's where people are going to be sniping value from the evaluator role, right? Awesome timing. I'm actually going to bring Joe up. Looks like he's able to break free and come in for a minute, and we will go into the next topic, unless he has something to say about what I just said.
I just missed what you said. All right, I don't know what the topic was, so yeah.
I'm talking about how you can see posts in chat now. And I was talking about the two types of denizens that I think it's very valuable for. One, I gave the example of like lot holders, people that want to keep an eye on a layer, you know, and also the evaluator role, where you can kind of snipe first when you see stuff. If you're correct, right? If you take a moment to properly evaluate and you predict correctly, maybe I see that as a prime place to squat. You know, if you're ever playing video games, you got your squatters corners, and they always
it's
get
more
people,
live,
right?
Right? Yeah, because
The other kind of pops in. You don't have to refresh and see anything.
Right. Because that's the alternative. You'd have to come in, click on the new stuff, and then get a refreshed view. Whereas this, you'll just be talking.
I think it does still pop up. It says new. A little blue button pops up to let you know there's new stuff since you looked at it last, at least in the app. I think it does. I remember seeing that.
Yes,
but you're right. It doesn't just pop in, but in chat it will. So you could have an edge.
Right.
And that's just from me. I keep thinking about this as a video game. The more and more I talk to people about it, Maybe it's because I know so many gamers, because I love video games so much.
Yeah.
But that always ends up being the easiest way to like frame something. I'm like, no, because yeah.
And by the way, this one right here, because I didn't, I kind of staked space in the chat on a few of the layers that I knew had more subscribers, but I hadn't opened the art chat, and I had no idea if there was anything in it, and maybe there isn't any chat in there. But we want.
There is.
Oh yeah, there is.
Yeah, so I've got one right up here with Violet.
I left it.
And right, there's not been a lot of chat. I was also talking about, this is maybe something I'll start coordinating just to see if it works. And I'll go to a different layer chat real quick. I'll go to support, for example. It's nice to have a support chat room. And now you can see the support issues, the posts themselves come in, right? So if we can cultivate a culture of tipping out people who voluntarily support, this could be something where people can provide quality support, and then it's, hopefully if we cultivate that culture, then get tipped out whatever valuable amount of matter or lore or lot or whatever. So but yeah, here's Jacob Wayne, and that's how it looks if it's a chat bubble. And I like that it's still a chat bubble and it isn't just a different color square. It's an obviously different thing.
Yeah. And I will say, let's see here.
There's me. Yeah.
I do, like, say when somebody answers a question in DENDAO, especially if it's somebody who's not like, say, in some official role, I'll at least throw a ton of energy on it.
Yeah, thanks for helping out. Exactly.
And then some, and not, or give a lot of lore or matter. Just is like, okay, that's the type of stuff that any of the layers can do, by the way, right? So if you are part of any layer, that makes sense, right? It's really cool to give lore to people so they can get in on an XLCP with some.
Because that's kind of what you're saying is like, hey, you're the type of denizens that I envision like running layers. I want you to be, you're the type of person I want to go vote and have some ownership. Here's some lore, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yep.
And I was also taught what I think is a good idea. What I was about to say, I guess, was like even the different layers, if they want to start coordinating more with the chat rooms now. I know I was talking to Flo about starting something up in the Canvas layer, for example. And so you could even start having weekly get-togethers or meetings in a layer. Just throw up a post and propose, like maybe even a GI, like a MISC GI, and say, hey, when does everybody want to start having a weekly just get together? Whoever is around, drop in chat, and we'll chat. And then you can start building projects together in chat. So if Flo and I wanted to, start something on 420 at Fridays or something, we could just start meeting in chat, and then over time maybe we start up like a video call as well on the same thing, or grow a community like that. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right on.
So that's as far as I guess. Otherwise, that's the first line on the agenda, and so you didn't miss much.
Right on.
So I also wanted to bring up, this isn't something that people are probably even going to notice, but I wanted to say that at some point, it's going to be probably sooner than later, but there's no like definite time at the moment. But there's been a vote in the past, so it's been discussed, and it's been discussed more recently internally, that it's a good idea, and I think we sorted out exactly how to do it, and that was the next step, and then now the next step is actually doing it. So that'll be pretty soon, since it's the actual exact engineering steps to do it are already sort of hashed out. But what that's going to look like is you're going to see the same thing on Den. You're still going to get paid every day. It's just that the tokens on Ethereum will get minted weekly, and you'll pay one. The DENDAO will pay one fee per week instead of 7. So I like that as an example. And this is kind of what the next few bullets are about. I like that as an example of not to be talking too much about Dragon Chain, but the fact that Den is built on Dragon Chain is unique in that we can do that even, right? This is when the vote first came up, when the governance vote that did pass a while back. That was the driving thing at the moment, right? Gas has settled down since then, which I think is why it didn't continue to be the highest priority at the time. But at the moment, it was like, holy crap, this can bury a business if
Yeah.
fees just automatically or all of a sudden
Yeah,
decide.
it wasn't even the typical argument is that if I have a business and I'm using Ethereum, that at any point my operating costs could go up 100x.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have any control over that. And this is not even that. This is one transaction a day that made us
Yeah.
wake up, because all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, should we be spending that
Yeah.
much on that one transaction?
Right. And then the more you think about it, and the more you think about how the system's built and how the systems are segregated and sort of like disconnected from each other in a way that you can improve one without having, I guess what I'm saying is you can improve our Ethereum side efficiency without having to force the DragonNet Den side to follow the same cadence.
Right.
You see what I mean? So we can still pay out daily while not interacting daily on Ethereum.
Yeah. And it was interesting too, because the original implementation had them very what's the word? Geez, I'm totally blanking on the word. Tightly coupled. That and it's a bad design itself, but it was not an important point at the time. And the fact it's flexible that we can change it, but the fact that the minting operation, and as people have seen in the past, that when the mint failed on Ethereum, either because the fees were too high or because the network was too slow, so it didn't happen within the allotted window, that the mining operation on Dragon chain or on Den, which is on top of Dragon chain, wouldn't happen because it was switched. I'm only going to do it if the minting happens. So, and then the next day when 2000 comes out instead of 1000, then it would run the operation. But it was more complex then and everything else. So instead, we're just decoupling those two things and saying every night the accounting happens on all of the internal mapped wallets, and all of the mining happens into people's accounts. The right now that the accounting has essentially funded, and I think we're doing 4 weeks, even though we're going to move to a 1 week thing, but we're going to put 4 weeks in there worth of matter, so that it will just go out and there's basically every night the mining will happen. And even on the occasion that, and it will happen, that the 7-day event fails because Ethereum is what it is, then it'll either run on the 8th day, and it'll just keep up. All the accounting is good. So
I have to correct myself on one point. I suggested that people might not notice a difference at all, but that's wrong, because I just realized what you explained is that it will actually improve, because you'll have, theoretically, you should have no reason for the internal one to fail because it's not relying on the external action anymore at all.
Yeah. And there are bugs, so it might fail because new features added, whatever.
I'm saying that it's likely to be more reliable. It's likely to be better.
To be more consistent. And
I hadn't thought of that it's literally more efficient and more reliable at the same time. That change. So cool, good call. Alrighty. We'll stop flexing on Dragon for a second and get back to Den. Cool. So LCP, the phase is for proposing is open. I mentioned that at the beginning. I just wanted to point out, don't rush just yet to put in your favorite topic as a layer, which I don't think anyone's doing, which is fine. But if you're new, there's a list. There's this little icon on the right, little check circle on the right. And this is where we go and vote on new layers, basically, is what that is. And there's contests in there. And there's a whole list of topics. And all these topics have been submitted in the past by other people during the phase that's open this week, right now. So if you want to scroll through and look at these and see if there's something that already, like comics, for example, already is the layer that you thought about, well, then this is where you can find out that there's other people that want to do the same thing. You know what I mean? In fact, there's apparently 5 people that do want a comics layer. So you can just throw in with them instead of trying to build up your own community from scratch. You can throw in with somebody who started the same thing already. Right. Now, if you don't see anything in there that relates to what you want to do, then head on over to the LCP layer, which if you scroll down to L, or if you just Control F and hit L on your keyboard on desktop, or in the future, if you just hit L at the top of the screen. I should have put LCP. I tried to do it the easy way, and it ended up being harder, of course. But anyway, it's Pink Boy with the layer creation process next to it. And you go into there, and we have a couple of layer proposals already. So let's look at them real quick.
And real quick,
yeah.
Before we do that, and we have to check if it has happened. Maybe it has. That the actual announcement, someone replied to it with a proposal, and I want
could be. Yeah, that could
I want to
be.
make sure that they got it put in as a post.
Okay, yeah, I'll go look at that and see if that's the case. So there's Dendroid. I think there is an Android proposal already, but there's a Dendroid here. Android news, relevant guides, all things Android. Cool. So let's see. I don't know if there is or is not, but maybe check and see if there is one. I like the logo though. Cool. I like Vault 13 as a thing. I don't know if that's what's supposed to be. I initially saw that and thought that was a Fallout reference. If you ever watched Satoshi Sean's show, he has a big gear thing at the front that rolls out. That's that's a Fallout thing.
That's hilarious. Yeah. No, I'll bet the 13 is version number. I don't know though, because I've not kept up with that forever. So I don't know what candy dessert they're on already. Right?
Yes, exactly. But no, I'll just now I have to bring it up real quick, I guess. Right here. That's what first thing I thought about. You know, so I saw that and I was like, oh, Fallout reference. No, okay.
Might be, I don't know.
So, cool. And then so there's that. There is
it might have been that podcast layer. That might have been the one that he originally put as the reply. I'm not sure.
Cool. That's cool because podcasts are something that, you know, if you're not on the accepted platform that is where all the podcasts are supposed to be, you know, this would be a pretty good, you know, community directory almost, I guess.
Yeah. Yes.
Is posted. Anything you want to post in this layer that is appropriate for Den. All right. So we have a random competitor.
And board.
And board.
Right? I always think random is competitor with board, but it might not be. It might not be. Right.
Yeah. I always get those like mixed up because like random on another network is B. So board and random, you know, kind of together. So yeah. All right. So let me go back to the agenda here. Those are the proposals we see up so far. Oh, did you want to check real quick the announcement?
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Make sure that was it. If you have it there.
So the announcement would have been here. Let's see if there's anything in here. Yeah, it is podcast.
Yep, so right on.
Great. All right. Okay. So that is solved. Put that on Jira and check it off. Back up. Oh, go forward.
I wonder if we already know we've I think we even in the white paper talk about a dissolution of a layer. Like if a layer becomes dead and people realize, you know what, they either could sell their lot to someone who could build it up or, you know, try to create a community. That's the point of it. Or they could burn their lot to get their lore back to try something else. Say, okay, I'm out. Guys, and you know that might even help too because then I had 3%, now I have
that's a good point.
Whatever.
Because I think that I'll use an example, and maybe I'm the only person who can openly do this without it being a problem, but I think that's what my friend Dragon Sloth should do with the maker layer. I think he should burn it down and get his stuff back and reopen one with the community through an LCP. And have like a proper decentralized governance on a maker layer, right?
Yep.
Because the concept is great, and I've talked to him recently, like, hey, you want to sell some of that, maybe get some more owners, and he's just not interested. So I don't know what's going on there. I guess he thinks it's going to be he's basically squatting. He's illustrating the squatter problem, is what it is.
That's fine though.
But that's he knows that I love him and he's one of my best friends of my lifetime. So I'll talk shit about him and it's fine. And I just want to say that illustrates one of the problems that was predicted originally in the white paper. Not in the white paper, maybe, but we talked about it that early, which was the reason that you can't just willy-nilly spin up a layer anytime you want, which ironically, if you remember, was Dragon Sloth's whole thing that he was pissed off about.
Yes.
Was he wasn't able to just have a layer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that whole process was educational in that it illustrated that, just proved you right, Joe. You know.
That's funny.
So in the future, this was early enough to where the mechanism to combat that was not in place yet, right?
Yeah.
So the mechanism to combat that is in the white paper, which is that there will be a metric that is tied or related to the relative health of the layer, whatever that ends up meaning in final form. And then there will be a fee that the layer owner will pay, I believe in lore, correct me if I'm wrong, but a fee anyway of some sort that will potentially be zero, right? If the layer is healthy, if it's not just domain squatting where nobody else can have that name, but you also don't want to work on it, you know, that kind of thing. Now you can still do that, but you're going to have to keep getting lore to pay that fee if we do lore. And the way to do that is to either earn it by being a productive member of society in, you know, in the context of Den, or buying it on the open market and then keeping your layer alive, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep. I imagine
that's
if
why.
we'll
get that in place. It's just hasn't been a top priority. You know, we'd rather get. You know, I'm okay if he doesn't have any activity in there, or if it's not
a huge problem.
Some level. You know, doesn't
not
matter.
a huge problem because anybody can spin up a DIY layer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like you know, a layer, a Maker Libra, or something like that.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So so the other question is consolidation. You know, would there ever be any need? And this is for future. We definitely don't need to resolve this at all right now. But I imagine that let's say NFT art and art. Maybe there's some reason that they should be better to consolidate because they're not really. You know, I do get it. It is 3 legs of similar things, so they might be fine. We're not bored, random, and posted, right? Maybe they would, let's say they're all there, would be best to consolidate. And I don't even think that would be answerable until after we have the formal cross posting in there, because cross posting might take care of that actually. And it's like, well, it's kind of the same subject. Maybe a lot of content gets cross posted. Maybe there's a different flavor in one of the communities, and so people gravitate whichever way. And you know, who knows? You know, but I want to own a piece of that one because that's where I do most of my interesting stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if consolidation is, you know, that could happen. That might come up in the future to where that's a feature. But I kind of would imagine using the cross posting data to predict which layers might be even eligible for consolidation. Let's say only the top 5 by cross posting or something, where there's so much relevance between these 2 layers that maybe we can use that to predict what might be a candidate for.
But I would even say then in that case, especially if they're LCP, that you know, the LCPs, it's even defined that they won't ever pay that lore fee that you would if you came in on your own. And the purpose is because they're distributed, and that's what we want. And yet, you know, it might be more. I own a piece of layer C, and yet I can see that layer A of related layers is performing much better. So I might end up wanting to say, hey, I would give up some of this for some of that, you know, and swap the lot.
Now that I can get behind. I don't actually support layer consolidation. I just wanted to go through like what it would look like.
Yep.
The lot swap though, definitely, because so here's a very good example, I think. The space and science, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. Science and tech, and science and space tech.
Yeah, science and tech, science and space tech. I was illustrating this, might have been even yesterday on coffee. But you and I have talked about this, the difference between science and space technology, other than the one word space in there, 11 million lot versus like 500,000, you know, or whatever it is. 600K. And so assuming apples to apples, if you just, for argument's sake, assume both layers are exactly as healthy and have exactly as much energy going into them or something. Like if you were to somehow mirror the post into both, then the science and tech lot would measurably factually be worth more each because they would have a higher percentage of the layer fee that comes out of each one. They're no longer split into 11 million pieces. They're split into 500,000 pieces.
Yeah.
Kind of
And
thing.
hopefully when we get layer metrics, I mean, I guess the goal, we'll get layer metrics that will show you what each layer is producing, but the end result of that is going to show you essentially what you're getting. And I don't know what semantics to use, but what each lot is producing in each layer, like a single
Right.
lot, in each layer. And I don't know if we'll mark it at the single lot or at the 10, but either way, it's going to be something where you can compare them apples to apples. So I could compare my memes lot to my Elon Musk lot, right?
Yes.
So
yeah, it might be easiest to do them individually because that's going to be a 1-to-1, like what percentage, this much matter comes out of this one and this much comes out of that one.
The measure will probably be an average. So it'll probably be something like in 30 days time, one lot will produce 0.001 matter versus this one in 30 days time, one lot would produce 2 matter, right? And then oh, okay. It's easy to rank them. And I don't know if it's going to be, I've assumed 30 days, but I've not seen the numbers to know if you're into single digits versus, some layers might not produce for one lot. If there's a lot of lot, it's not going to produce one matter in
so
30
there
days
might
time.
be, there might even
do centimatters.
Like other way around. If you flip that, you could say how many of this layer's lot would it take to get one matter in a period of time, kind of thing. That could be a good way to do it too.
Yeah, that could be.
And then you could just measure them by time instead of by money.
Yeah.
If then this one is 1 day, this one is 1 week, this one is 1 month.
That's not bad. Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. So we have to figure those things out when we put it together. And and then you have a layer leaderboard. So and then whenever we either right now people could pull, of course, their lot out to OpenSea and do whatever they want with them, but it's not really that efficient, right? So it's very expensive to sell. Although people do, I've looked recently. It's like, oh, people are buying and selling a lot on OpenSea.
I haven't looked in a while. That's good.
Yeah, I looked at it the other day and was like, oh, that's weird. Okay, they sold it for this much. I was trying to look through and try to reason with the numbers that I saw, but there has been activity there. So
remind me, if you think of it, maybe even next week or something. There's something specific I want to talk to you about about that marketplace. It's not relevant to this meeting though.
Okay. Yep. Cool. We can probably go on now.
So I was just looking at what's next. So right, LCP phase is open, proposal phase is open. We're going to choose winners a little bit differently. Same concept, different numbers. We're going to see what works out. It's going to be the first, like by unique voters, as it has been. But then instead of 8 and 13, we're going to do number 3 and number 5 this time.
Yeah.
So that won't cut quite as deep. So you won't get layers with quite as theoretically with as small of numbers, right? Like this 500,000. That was pretty nice to have less than 1 million LC layers show up because we haven't had less than 1 million since I think the beginning, right? It's always been a
long time ago. Yeah, as soon as we turned on the lore side instead of energy, I think maybe I can't remember. It seems like the very first ones were pretty high.
Yeah, the first ones were massive because lore then was even cheaper than it is now. So people were just getting gobs of it, and it was cheap enough back then, like we were just talking about, where LCP was actually interacting directly from MetaMask for each vote. So
for Ethereum.
A bunch of different ones.
Yeah, people were committing on the Ethereum side.
Yeah,
and we
were committing on Ethereum, and I remember each one you were paying a gas fee for each layer you voted on. And then when gas fees blew up, people stopped voting, and it was like, oh, we got to fix that.
Yeah. And then when we added them in parallel, we saw like a 99.95% engagement off of the Ethereum side, and so we're like, well, okay, let's just turn that off.
Works way better this way because you can now also, if you wanted to withdraw, you had to pay a fee to withdraw at the same time. So if you ever wanted to take it back out, you had to pay a fee for that. So now you can put it in, take it out, but it's like
Alec, why do you do this?
And that just it's great that we were able to do that, but it did burn cycles. It did burn development time to be able to hit on that back then when we needed to, keep chugging along.
Yep.
So cool. 1, 3, and 5. So that'll be who went. 3 and 5 are by amount of lore committed, not unique voters. Right. We did have one piece of feedback. Listening, traveling, new connections. Hello to I Am for I Am, and also hello to Mladen. Thanks for joining us and listening in. It looks like I Am for I Am has a proposal up, but I'm going to have to, I'm banned from the Den layer, to be honest, so I'm going to have to bring that up in a new window real quick. Let's see here. Copy, and then let's put it in a new browser. Let's do a... So the cool thing, and this is necessary with, how do I new private window? With Den, is you don't have to be logged in to view anything. So if you're ever wondering, like, why can't I read stuff from layers that I'm banned from, just log out and you can still read it. It's fine. So proposal, end gas fees, grow new subscribers. That is, I would love to do that. I want to read through this real quick. We probably can't, I don't know if we can spend a lot of time on it. It's a very long one, but I know that I Am for I Am is very thorough and researched. Just at a glance scrolling through, it looks like there's suggestions of putting matter on different networks like that are cheaper, like Matic, and stuff like that. Sorry, I'm going really fast. I haven't looked at this yet. So, I am not on screen. I thought I was sharing the screen already. I'm sitting here reading it like you can see what I'm looking at.
It's cool.
One moment.
Is this a proposal to just is it in DENDAO or is it in Dragon Den? It's
in Den, and it is not a government. It is not a gov proposal. It is a proposal for a proposal, if that makes sense.
Like discussion, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, discussion. Yeah, that's not the right window. Dang it, Dave.
It's cool.
And then there's that, and then is this it? That's it. There we go. Allow. Perfect. So I haven't looked at this at all yet. So I was just scanning through, and it looks like it's nicely researched and stuff. There's even references from the white paper in here, and I'm going to have to go through and read this and take some time on it. There is some conversational quotes and references from people, and then what I saw was basically there's going to be more to it than this because I'm not reading everything right now, and there's examples on looks like on exactly how it can work. But I see that there's suggestions of putting them over on different chains. We would probably have the same ticker, not a different one. And some networks for options and what they look like if we ever wanted to use Matter on a different network to reduce fees and encourage active trading and stuff like that, right? So that is a very, very good discussion piece. And I'm going to look into that over the weekend. I'm going to look into this and read through it. And I Am for I Am says they will be around next week if we want to talk about this next week.
That'd be good. I'll read it too.
Yeah,
I have various stuff on history from those that might weigh in on why not one and another, and who knows what else. The ultimate goal that hasn't been a priority. But we have it on a couple of other projects that are very similar would be, these are, well, Matter is a fungible token with a known supply. So there's no way around the fact that, it automatically mints, it automatically creates 1,000 every day. And, if we call it 7 days later, that's how we're doing that thing. It's 7,000. So you can't say, okay, you'd either have to say, well, we're gonna have more than 1,000, or you'd have to burn them, or you'd have to do something else on the fungible side, or we could replace that contract. The DAO could say, let's replace the contract, change it so there's a half or a quarter, and the rest is over here, or whatever else.
I think that if I were, now I'm not an expert in building this by any means. I'm not an engineer like you are, but I think that there's maybe the my favorite way to do that would maybe be to do kind of what we're doing, what we just talked about it would require fronting a lot of matter from DENDAO, basically.
Oh,
and so you would just similar to the way that we have to top up the like the endpoint contract, the where people transfer matter in and out of DEN, we would have to top up one on each different network, and then as DENDAO, what that would probably look like is taking them from Ethereum, bringing them into DEN, into a wallet in DEN, and then exporting them out into the other network like Polygon or something, into a contract on that. And then that contract could be used for the wallet.
But then you have to decide, do you burn them on the Ethereum side, or do you lock them on the Ethereum side and then allow someone else to say, oh, you know what, I bought these that are on Polygon or on Solana or whatever else. I'm going to bring them back in, and now I want them on Ethereum because the fees are different or something.
Yeah, I would speculate that you build a new contract, or not a replacement contract, but an additional contract that is your these are on Polygon.
That's what we called wormhole tech way back, that you have a contract between them, and you can either handle it on the Dragon Chain side or you can handle it on the Ethereum side. The simplest is Dragon Chain, or in this case, DEN would watch the contract on Polygon, Solana, Binance Chain, and Ethereum, and would essentially the contracts between them would like say you would have the full supply available, or the current total supply available on Polygon, let's say. And so when I take my matter on Ethereum and I send it into this contract, it locks it, and but I have to send it to the contract that either I have to give it which network I want to send it to, so it knows, oh, this went from here to now unlock on the Polygon side, but then you have to mirror up, well, whose is it? And so then how do you claim between the two? There's it's a big mess. There's a lot of stuff. You could do some of it. We could handle it centrally. We could handle it at the contract level themselves, but the registration has to somehow be there.
Yeah, I think DEN's unique in that it's built to be one of those hybrid. It was a demo of what you could do, right?
Yeah.
At the beginning. And so because it does have this central aspect where you can run it like a central company if you want to.
Yeah.
You could just use DEN as the mediator between the two contracts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, use something like Wormhole. You can cut out DEN.
And you could wrap them. And I don't know enough about the tech on how, like say how Uniswap uses wrapped tokens, but you could do similar where you can trade Bitcoin on Ethereum because you can wrap them. It's essentially, I don't know precisely how they're locking them inside of that bundle, but it's.
I would imagine they're just issuing an IOU that's called wrapped whatever. But I also am not as.
Yeah, I don't know that. I think I don't know. I mean, I had assumed it's a cryptographic thing that they're encrypting it twice. I don't know. Like it's if the smart contract allows you to. I don't know though.
This is why
I don't look dumb. So, but you could. I know that you could do something wrapped potentially on those.
Yeah, I know.
And the NFTs though are easier. I mean, the lot would easily be let's at least let you trade lot on Solana instead of. And we could easily do something there where you could export your lot to any one of these networks, but potentially maybe you can't undo that. It's like you can simplify things by saying, okay, if you want your lot on Solana because you think it'll sell better over there without the fees, then do it. And now you have them and they're out there and you can do whatever you want with them. But some of the other stuff we're working on, I mean, I would hope that in the end, you would just go to this other NFT platform that will integrate directly with DEN, where you won't pay a fee. You'll say, hey, I want to sell this over here, and it'll just now over here I can sell it with only whatever the built-in
Much.
fees, not the Ethereum.
Yeah, I think people don't know about that as much because it's not in our like unofficial roadmap, that
Yeah.
that prioritization thing.
Yeah.
But with that, when DMs are out, we'll have another vote. That's a DENDAO thing, just so everybody knows.
They're coming. Yep.
Yeah. So now that Den has the inline function that we want, we needed to make that semi-complete in the way that was envisioned. DMs are already being worked on to the point where they're not going to take that much longer, I think. And then we'll have a vote and we'll prioritize our features that we work on.
Where do you
next.
stand yet?
I keep moving with
Me too.
like week to week. I keep moving around. I really want stuff like, on one hand, and this, I'll be perfectly honest. This is the kind of thing that now I have to think about. I'm not the only person in my company now that owns it, so I have to think about more business stuff. We're building on Den, and everything we do, we try to do decentralized. And I was talking about that a little bit earlier on WBRT, plug them. But yeah, we're trying to really walk the walk on this one. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I know that with us, we have a way locally that we want to sell Matter to people, basically OTC, so that it is easy for people that don't want to learn about cryptocurrency. That's one of our big things, is how do you make cryptocurrency equitable socially, where people that don't either have the tools or desire to learn to get on board, can you make something that's easy enough for them to use where they don't have to care about it, but it still uses blockchain and cryptocurrency under the hood, that kind of thing. Yeah. So I would like it to be really easy for people to buy Matter directly on Den, for example. That's one of them. On the other hand, I do like the idea of upcharging people for the convenience and selling it as a business. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like we have a use where, and we have a direct, like if you have these tokens, our company accepts them for these events and the things that we do. You know what I mean? Including, as we build a community worth advertising to, including access to advertising to us. You know what I mean?
Right.
So advertising credit kind of thing. We use it as such. But with that, we have the ability to upcharge people, right? Yeah. Because there's a convenient way to do it. Now, I'm not saying I want to design against doing that to make it harder so that I have that edge, but it's crossed my mind,
Well, and I would say I would rather have you continue to do that just to keep things simple, and and then we can get the more broad, it's like, keep doing that because there's an incentive to do it.
Now, it might be that I'm one of the only people that care about that because I'm doing something so specific. Right. And that would reflect in the votes. Yeah. You know what I mean? If nobody cares about that, they won't vote about it. There's so many. Can we look at it real quick, actually, while we're at the end of this call?
Sure. Actually, yeah. The on the priorities, DENDAO, the last vote.
Let's see here. Let's go by.
Are you shared?
No, I want to find it first.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Let's do this. Share screen. Going to be called DENDAO. I'm really happy that the tabs say what it is now, because especially when you're choosing what window to share, it'll say, oh, it's the DENDAO one, that kind of thing.
Very useful, yes.
All right, so features.
It's, by the way, the best image possible for any such proposal. Okay.
All right, so I'm not going to read about them. I'm just going to go through real quick. Chat and DM is where we are right now.
That's the one, and that's the one that won, right? Okay, so
that's the one that won. And so DM, once that's wrapped up, we will vote again, and we're voting on things like the ability to post anonymously, Matter lot trade, which is where you can trade your lot for Matter. Basically, use in Den, use our own marketplace to sell that lot or to trade it for Matter.
Yeah.
Matter, lure, purchase, and swap. Is this the same thing?
Nope. That's between. If I want lure, I could trade some Matter, or a Matter I could change for lure, right? Because you might have an imbalance. So yeah.
Dollar metric, so that you can click on MTR and have it switch to USD.
Yeah.
USDC. I don't know. Whatever. Denizen flags, which were put on hold. Denizen @ reference by ID. This is so you can say @ Joe and you get it, and Joe gets a little notification
Yeah.
in the notification box, and then never gets rid of them because everyone says, Joe.
Yep.
That's a feature that would be helpful for tagging someone who's relevant in the conversation to bring them in so they know about it.
Yep.
Notifications upgrade and refactor. Improve notifications. Yeah, there's some. I think everyone's seen a few things that are clunky with notifications if they've used enough browsers or enough devices on it.
Yeah.
So that is, but that takes time to do. So that's a feature in itself. Show consensus after some time, so that you can see after some time what the consensus was, but not before.
Yep.
Basically, encouraging people to vote without first seeing what the consensus is.
Yep.
Let's see, layer metrics and leaderboard. This is where a lot of the stuff we're doing creates database stuff, creates blockchain data, on-chain data that can be referenced later for metrics and leaderboards. And you can see stuff like what were we just talking about? What lot might be most profitable, or what layer might be more active than others, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it might have a user leaderboard too. We don't know about that, but it would be good to compete, I think, for people, best evaluator, best content creator.
Like at the end of if you're playing like any round based like Battlefield or some online game, you'll get the end of the round. What do you call it?
And I think it would be great to have the dailies and the monthlies, right? Maybe weeklies, right? But literally just have that laid out. It'd be amazing, I think, right?
Yeah.
So,
the last two are formal cross posting, which I've
valuable.
suggested maybe doing it like we used to do on Reddit before it had back before it like got before they had formal cross posting on Reddit, you would just put X post in a bracket, and then at least in the subs that I was in, it was typical to.
Do they have formal cross posts now? You can put the same content in both.
I thought they did, maybe not.
Okay.
But it's literally the same thing, except you don't have to put the. I have.
But the thing that I want is to be able to track it as a single object and know that maybe it got 75% of its rewards from this layer and 25 from that layer.
Was this cross as an item? Was this cross post valuable?
And the whole point of it is that because often is the case that the original content creator, the original poster doesn't know about that other layer, doesn't even think about it. It's like, oh, that would have been good in that layer. That this is an opportunity for the evaluator to say, why isn't this in that layer? And then they can officially cross post it and get a slice of the reward, but benefit the original poster by giving them the reward from that layer. So
visibility is something we can always work on. I think
it fixes some of the wrong layer stuff that happens, right? So
sometimes it might not even be the wrong layer as so much as like it might be better fitted in the other layer. And so the last one will be not the last one, but the last one on this list is smart contract integration API. And that's where, like, if you wanted to run something on your, if you this even says if you're a developer, you can plug it to your layer and do stuff with your own whatever your options are. There's a couple that aren't on here. I don't remember what they are right now. But
one of the latest ones was an actual DENDAO vote to have a and I can't remember what one, but to have a reward for the leader on the day, week, and month. And like it would be a matter pool. I think it's a matter pool, might be a lore pool. I can't remember. And for a lottery.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Day, week, and month. And it would be, the lottery would be with the provably fair, whatever. The same thing that you would get an entry for every action, every vote, every reply, every post. And
I didn't see.
It's not on there. It was, sorry.
Is show consensus bundled with the proof report now? I don't see proof reports on here.
Oh, it should be on there. Yeah, that's the other one. Yeah. So, and we might be past 13, so we'll have to figure out what, like say, The matter lore swap and matter lot, maybe we could combine those. There are a couple others we might be able to combine. So
maybe depending on what the plan to implement it is, they may or may not go together. It may look like they do, but they may not. Depending.
Yeah.
Cool.
It could be two parts of the same thing, though. So it could be we want this, but yeah. So we will want everyone to vote on that, right? That'll be a very important thing we want to get pushed, because we want the better, as a DAO, we want the better feedback. We want to know what everybody wants. So
yeah, and as a reminder, specifically with the DENDAO votes, it is not like the layer governance where you have to have a lot for that layer to be able to vote in those. For the DENDAO votes, it uses the full-on Dragon Chain and smart ballots offering of behavioral governance, right? So that system that's offered by DEN with that partnership is what's used by DENDAO, and what's going to be used by at least one other later on that's coming. It's got they're still hashing out, like making sure it's right first on their end. But you don't have to have a lot, is what my point is. Vote on these. Everybody that comes in and participates in the Den.Social community, any of the communities that are on Den, you'll earn some sort of matter, and your actions and your behavior will give you some sort of governance weight. So everybody has a say. There's a lot of stuff too. If you want to know how to get more votes, you can add liquidity over in Uniswap on both the lore ETH and the matter ETH side, and that gives you more governance votes. You can own, if you participate in the LCP, right? If you're earning matter and that matter is, which by the way is automatically staked for you, and then you get a lore reward for that matter staking, you can take that lore, put it into the LCP. If your layer that you're voting for there wins, you get lot. Those lot come with more of a governance vote weight. So if you start getting in, and there's more as well that you can do. But if you learn the system enough to know where the governance votes are, you can actually have quite a bit of a say in this, right? If you choose to, you can really have a large role in collaborating with, being a part of DENDAO, and directing it. So I just wanted to put it out there that the power is yours. Isn't that what?
Well, it's great because you don't need to come with money, is the main point, right? I mean, you can use money to do various things,
That is, but honestly, that point specifically right there has been something that has stopped a lot of people that questioned what I was doing in their tracks. That alone, because especially early on, before there was an app, when I first aped into Den and was like, building what? Yeah, I'll help with that. I was talking to people about it who were like, that's a pyramid scheme, that's a scam, because it's crypto boom and all the Bitcoin stuff on TV and all that stuff, but when we finally got around to it, but you don't buy anything. It's like, okay, that just means if you're not paying for the service, you're the product. And I'm like, no, we don't sell that, we don't have advertising at all. And then it's like, well, how do you do it?
That's funny, right? That's crazy. So that's great.
I love new shit, Joe, and this is so new.
Yes.
That is all of our points for the meeting. Okay. So, quick reminder to everyone out there that there are multiple live shows on Den now. At the bottom of this post, there's some links to the different layers where they're hosted. On that note, when we do have smart contracts, I want to create a layer that all it is just it plays it has all the posts from all the layers where someone's live in a live show. It would be cool to have a TV guide layer or a DIN guide layer or something like that,
we talked about programmatic, even something that gathers the best of everything from all the layers. That might be something useful, but I don't know how different it is from the feed, so it kind of, I don't know, but
DINcast leaderboard, called a DINcast.
Yes,
have the DINcast leaderboard, all the live shows and how they perform, how many comments, or something, energy payouts maybe, Maybe not specify how much, but say who's in the lead or something.
That'd be awesome.
Really fun stuff. And then because what I want to do is I want more and more people to start their own show. And that's why I suggested earlier, like if you know a few people in one of the layers that you're in one of the Den communities, and you get along with them, make a post and say, hey, so-and-so and so-and-so, we've interacted a few times on this layer. What do you think about meeting in chat, once a week or on the weekends if you're around? And let's see if we can organize some sort of like, how do we make this layer? How do we level up?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah,
I want to encourage that because I think there's a lot, there's a lot here already, and there's a lot on the way. And so cool. There's what's coming, and there's the shows that we have next week. And this is the last one of this week. So thanks for joining us, and thanks for popping in, Joe.
Yes. Sorry I was late. Thanks so much.
I gotta find what I'm looking for. All right, I'm going to play us out with Enter the Dragon. Everybody have a good weekend, and we'll see you next time.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best.
Adaptable, all capital, label radical yet rational. A tactical approach is palpable if this animal is fallible, but that conclusion is laughable. So with for all detachable from the mandible, you see it now.